Happy Thursday. I am here with Leslie, my associate coach and luxury interior designer, in order to talk about profitability once again, because this is an obsession of mine. Not only because we have a product called The Key, the designer's ultimate pricing tool, that is changing our profit insiders and our one on one clients' lives completely.
Mhm.
What do you think of the message yesterday from one of our profit insiders that said, "Oh my God, now I'm feeling guilty because I'm making so much profit on this account that I feel like I need to go back to the client and give them
And
money back." And I'm like, no, wait, your job is not finished and you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah, and I get it. This is a real mindset thing to we've all I shouldn't say we've all, I'm generalizing, but in general, a lot of us have spent so much time barely making money or not making money. And suddenly when you make good money and things become a bit easier, it's like, well, wait, what? Like, hmm? It can be uncomfortable. And I think that's important to talk about because people assume you get to a level where you're profitable and it's easy and it's fun and you're making so much money. But there's so much going on inside of like, am I worth it? Did I overcharge? Did I make a mistake? Are they going to find me out as a fraud? That imposter syndrome comes
Yes.
in. And when she messaged us, I was thinking, girl, you just won. It's a win-win. You quoted a price, the client paid that price for the value you bring, and that's the end of it.
Right. And you're delivering at a high level of service for the prices you're charging, and things are going smoothly, and people don't actually know what to do with themselves. I'm making
Yes.
enough money. I have a balanced life at the moment. Okay. We got to be happy moment by moment. Um, and now what do I do with this happiness? I feels awkward. I'm used to working my ass off and being miserable all the time. And now I actually am making money and I have a balanced life and the client's happy. Isn't that the goal?
Yes.
It's just insane to me how hard it is. And listen, it's not just, each individual person. This is something we see every day, something we have suffered from. When your life finally and your business is going the way it's supposed to be, you're like, I'm so used to stress and drama. How can I create some? Right?
Subconsciously, absolutely.
Right. So
It's
how do you create more?
uncomfortable to be profitable, and
Yeah.
it's counterintuitive, but it is. Suddenly you're like, "Oh god, I'm making money. Like, I'm getting paid well for the value I'm bringing." And it's not commonplace. So
I
it
know, and
is
I
an
feel
uncomfortable
bad.
thing. Yeah.
She feels so guilty as if she's doing something wrong to the client, but she's actually not, because her service is doing that high level. She has the money to do the high level of service that she wants. She's keeping up on things properly because
Mhm.
she's not trying to shove more clients into this short period of time because I need to make more money. I need to make more money. I have to say yes to everybody. Instead, she's like, wow, I actually used the key, charged appropriately. Everything's running smoothly. Maybe I overcharged. No, enjoy the fact that you have profitability at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen the second half. She has not hit the project management stage
Yeah.
yet. So we got through the design phase quicker with a lot of the tips we've taught the profit insiders on how to source faster, how to get through the design phase faster. She got through it faster. Now suddenly she's like, oh God, I charged the client too much. And I loved when I said, wait a minute, did you tell the client that this is hourly for the design phase, or did you just do the flat fee design? And she's
Mm.
like, well, flat fee. I'm like, so then you're delivering what they paid for. You're good. You don't
Yeah.
have to go back and give money back. This is the cushion we all need in our businesses for sometimes for that oops that happens once in a while. That is either our fault or not our fault.
Right.
Every single job needs to have a cushion in it, whether that cushion is used for that particular job or whether it's covering you in the future as a business, right? You're allowed to be profitable when you run a business,
Yeah.
and you're allowed to make money, and you're allowed to be happy about it. And that doesn't mean you're screwing the client.
It doesn't, and this makes me think too, we have so many designers that get stressed at the end of the project because how am I going to afford to shoot this? This is how you can afford to photograph your projects, to hire the right team, to build, to grow. And growing doesn't have to mean expanding to a big office, but up leveling your business, up leveling your life, hiring a great photographer, hiring someone to help with social media if that's what you are feeling like you need next. this is how you do it. It's by being profitable and using tools like the key.
Yeah, and it popped into my head too, like some people want to use a stylist for their photo shoots and they
Mhm.
never have the money. But if you build in the profitability into your pricing, into your ladder of services. So let's actually talk about that. The importance of a ladder of
Yeah.
services, and that each ladder of service has to be profitable. So what I like to teach is your consult is a standalone.
Mhm.
It could be. You could be doing color consults for that. You could be doing redesign of their existing space. You could help them rearrange their furniture, all kinds of things for the hour and a half to 2 hour consult. So that can be a standalone service, but it's also the starting point of your other service models. So that alone, though, needs to be profitable. So you
Yes.
have to price that right, which you do. Then you need to think, do I want to offer a designer for a day, designer on call? Designer for a day is a 1 day, 6 hours. The way I teach it, you can modify it based on your love of spending a day with somebody one-on-one, whether you hate it or love it.
Not for me, but lots of people love it, and that's why this ladder of services is great. You can customize it to how you wanna run your business.
Exactly. Now and then designer on call, or Claire Jeffrey calls it designer by your side. It's the same thing. It's an hourly program where they pay for a bunch of hours. You work backwards from that for whatever they need within a
Mhm.
certain time slot. That has to be profitable too. Otherwise, don't do it. Like, don't work for jobs that aren't profitable. Now, I will caveat in the very, very, very beginning, sometimes you barter for jobs, and I get that, and I'm not discounting that. You can barter for an exchange for great testimonials, for pictures and things like that,
Yeah.
but only once or twice in the beginning of your business. For friends and family, try not to do that and continue that, right? Then set your prices based on your value and your years of experience and stick to them. And then, of course, we teach the full service design, which can run from new construction, renovation, or you're going into their existing footprint and you're changing their life from that point forward, right? So all of these service models, ladder of services, have to be profitable. Otherwise, don't offer them. Period. End of
Yeah,
story.
period.
Right. And how do they know if it's going to be if it's profitable?
Use Nancy's job profitability analyzer. That is the best free tool. I just sent it to somebody yesterday and I was like, "You need this." Because it actually lets you look at the end where like it is so eye-opening because it's easy to think you were profitable. You're like, "Well, I charge money and I brought money into the business." But when you actually figure out what was the time spent, what was the revenue, what was your cost of goods, what were other expenses, sometimes it can be very humbling to
Yeah.
learn that you are not a $200 an hour designer, you're a $73 an hour designer when all is said and done.
I know. It's always shocking when people say, well, I charge $200 an hour, 175, 150. I don't care what you tell me. I don't believe you until you run your jobs through the profitability analyzer. And then I go, okay, that's how much you actually made hourly for every hour that got put into this job.
Yeah.
You have to consider that in order to make sure that you're not undercharging. And it's interesting because what did I see this morning? It was some guy, TikTok. I always go down the rabbit hole of TikTok once in a while. It was definitely something about how, oh, you know who it was? It was Megan Dolly, actually. She's doing that crazy hair, morning hair
I
thing.
love it, like the
Yeah.
bedhead coffee thing.
Bedhead coffee. That's what she calls it. She was saying how, and she whispered into the camera, she's like, by the way, it's all an experiment. Like, really, like you and I teach amazing marketing tools, right? How you can market yourself effectively and gain the clients you want in order to charge your worth, present your ladder of services, and get a job. But it's still all an experiment because what's going to work for you, Leslie, might not work for me and might not work for this designer or that designer. So we really look at everybody's kind of ideal client, their personality, their years in business, how they've marketed themselves in the past. Where is their trickle coming from? And once their trickle comes in, we go, okay, now how can we enhance their marketing to bring in more traffic, right? So Masha's saying tools plus mindset equals profitable business.
I love that she
Absolutely,
pointed out the
Masha.
mindset thing because you're right, tools and systems and ladder of services is only half of it.
It's
It's
only half of it for
the
sure.
mindset.
And
Mhm.
I will tell you that you can teach how to price yourself properly. That's easy. We can teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
You have to have the ability to press the button send and then deal with the client on the other side when they go, oh, that's a lot. And that's why the key is so helpful. Everyone who's using the key is getting this, which I don't know if I anticipated so much. It's giving them that confidence to go to their client and go, yeah, this is how much it's going to cost you to do it right.
Yep,
Right?
it's paper courage, as it's called. I think
Mhm.
for me especially, it's so helpful to have something you can stand behind and say, like, not that anyone's ever asked me, but know in your mind, like, I have used a proven fee calculator based on industry averages, based on my own experience, based on my knowledge of what it takes to make this happen, instead of I pulled a number out of thin air because I think that's probably right. They could be the same, but there's something about, and this is part of why I was so excited to build the key with you, was because like that works for me. I need that foundation. I don't like a blank page. Gives me anxiety. But
Yeah.
give me context, give me a framework, give me numbers to start from, and it's so easy to calculate that you're almost like, "Wait, that can't be right."
Yes. And then
But
you start putting a logic check through it.
yes,
To
of
it.
course.
Right. But what happens is your logic check is tainted by your fear.
Yeah.
I don't have that fear. It's not my client, right? So I know and you know that we created the key without emotion.
Yes, it helps take the emotion out of it, and that was a question from one of our profit insiders just this week in one of our
Mhm.
calls is, "How do I sell without emotion?"
Yeah, and you know what? One of our profit insiders is having an issue with a client this morning or the last couple of days, and the message I left her, which I want to leave on my total broadcast channel for all my clients, is I feel sorry for clients who are complaining and bitching all the time. Like, I don't get why don't I get upset? Why doesn't it bother me if someone says something, in the past about my art consulting business or my current business? Because I go, I know my integrity and I know my authenticity and I know what kind of worker I am and what I provide to my clients. I am confident in that. Right. So if someone starts to complain and bitch, I literally go in my head, my inside voice, as Luann would say, says, I feel sorry for them because being miserable is just their default and being happy is so much harder. So if you look at them like they're complaining that, the tile guy didn't do a perfect job here, so and so didn't come and clean that up and this and that and the other thing and I just like, oh, like it's so hard to be them. like
Yeah. It is, and there's always people you're never gonna make happy, and that's why I think it's so important to take the emotion out of it because you are not responsible for other people's happiness. Your client's money story is none of your business. The
correct.
price is the price. The key helps you find that confidence to say, "The price is the price. Would
Right,
you like
rather
it?"
than leaving it to chance
Yeah.
and not having a clear understanding of how did you come up with that number? Even yesterday, when we assigned doing the profitability analyzer on the past 5 clients to some of our profit insiders, and one person came back and I said, "Okay, what was your profitability overall?" And she's like, "Oh my God, it was amazing." And I recommend and the minimum I want you to be at is 40% profitability on every individual job, but I like you to get up to 60%. That gives you that cushion to be the incredible high-end luxury designer you want. You have that money for, like you said, for photos, for oopsie moments where, your reputation is at
Yeah.
risk and you want to make things right. And she said, if you remember, I'm about 70%. I'm like, wow. Like, think about that. If a client pays, and now I know people's minds are going to be like, well, that's not fair to the client. But think about it. If they paid her $100,000 and she's
Mhm.
at a 70% profit margin on that one job, she made $70,000. 30,000 went to running that job. Okay. But she has yet to include her cost of doing business, paying for her coach, me, paying for her accountant, her bookkeeper, her renderer, her photographer, her styler, if she, takes pictures of this, her social media person. Every time you make a profit, people, it's not to feel guilty. It's to say, great, now I can run my business profitably and make a living. And I delivered what I said I was going to deliver to that client for this price, and they agreed to it and they were happy and they're still happy. What's wrong with that?
It's I think it seems too good to be true to some people because it takes the mindset work to get there, and when you get there, it is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I assure you, you will ease into it just fine. It's lovely to actually
Yeah, you're
have
uncomfortable.
balance.
But how long are you uncomfortable for once you realize you made good money?
I'm good pretty quick.
Exactly. So other people will be pretty good slower, but I'm pretty good pretty quick too, because again, as long as your integrity is there and you're making sure your clients are getting the results that you promised for the money they gave you, right? So having the paper courage, as you call it, to go to your client and charge appropriately will give you that feeling like, yay, I'm enjoying my
Yes.
business again. Imagine enjoying your business again.
I have had a really great couple weeks where it's been that way, where things are humming along. Money is coming. I've had amazing profit this month, like one of my highest months in probably the past year. And it's fun and it's easy. And I don't want to say it feels effortless, but there's flow and an ease to things where I'm not like, I gotta get this done and I'm feeling stressed. It's like, okay, like I can focus for an hour and get a lot done. And I know that I'm not billing by the hour. I'm not nickel and diming. I can produce quickly, big value for my clients and free up my brain and the rest of my time. And it's wonderful.
You know, it's interesting because I'm there as well. And that's why I love teaching this work-life balance. But it's, I've never ever advocated flat fee because people don't know their numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm finding is with the key, the people who are using the key and the profitability analyzer in combination, they are learning their numbers so well that they are now naturally going to flat fee
Yeah.
and getting it and no longer having, I still want everyone tracking their hours because you want to confirm, not just go, this worked once or twice, so I'm just going to go with it. Because unless you confirm every single job,
Yes.
you don't know when the market is changing, when the industry is changing, when the tide is changing, when the universe is changing. But you'll find out very quickly when you are tracking your hours for both yourself and any staff that you have working on clients, right? So even if you're charging flat fee, fine, as long as you're using the key to make sure you're charging the right amount and you're still tracking your hours for yourself so that you can verify. Because as Megan said this morning in her Crazy Hair Morning broadcast on Instagram, it is all an experiment. And any coach that tells you it's not, they're full of shit. Okay. That's the bottom line. It is an experiment. All these programs out there that you're like, you definitely do this and you'll definitely make that is really a little smoke and mirrors, a little clickbaity. The bottom line is, I'm sure I do it a little bit myself, that we are going to double or triple people's income if they do what we say in the Profit Insider program. And if they're, and if everything happens right in their life, there's a little luck involved here as well. But the bottom line is you have to do the work. The person has to do the work. We can only lead the horse to water. We cannot make them drink. Right? So we can provide the key, the designer's ultimate pricing tool, but guess what? You actually have to use it.
That is true.
And you have to verify that it worked well on each and every job you used it by then pairing it with the profitability analyzer and adjusting your process accordingly and getting over the fear of charging your worth.
Yep. And taking the emotion out of it, which I acknowledge as someone who's empathy is one of my top strengths. And so I think people like me and a lot of designers are, because we're intuitive, we're empathetic, we can read our clients. And that helps us be good designers. It does pose challenges for selling and presenting proposals. And this is a learned skill. And I want to remind people of that.
Yes.
Not everybody is naturally good at selling.
Correct.
And it's something that takes practice. And the more you do it, the more confidence you gain. When you price with the key, the more confidence you gain. And it gets easier and easier. When I first started, I was terrified to propose $2,500 to do a project. And now I'm like, is 20,000 really enough? And that sound like, if you told me that 8 years ago when I started that I would be charging design fees in the 5 and 6 figures, I'd be like, you're fucking crazy. It seemed impossible. And it's baby steps. And the key can help you accelerate that process a little bit and help you make those steps with confidence to get you where you need to be to run a business and have a life that is enjoyable. And that,
and you don't have the stress of, if you have fewer clients and more profitability on every single job, you don't feel that stress every time a phone call comes in, oh my God, are they going to hire me? You actually get a calm about you where you can do the sales conversation much more conversationally with a lot less desperation and be like, okay, if they don't if they're not the right fit for me as a client, or I'm not the right fit for them, it's okay, rather than crying that you lost another client and I don't know why this keeps happening. And that kind of like thought process is so negative for people to get looped into, where if I can get them and you can get them just to adjust their pricing in the beginning and actually deliver the pricing, excuse me, and they actually sell it the first time, the second time, the third time, suddenly they're like, okay, so the 3 consults I had, only one turned into a client. This month, that's no big deal because I know I finally got this and I'm not desperate for the next job. I'm actually rolling and comfortable in my bank account, knowing I'm waiting for the right next client as opposed to desperate to find the next proper right client for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
There's an ease and a confidence that comes with pricing yourself correctly.
Correct, correct. And then when you're on the phone with them and they're talking about what they need, having the right ladder of services to be able to say, it sounds like what you need is, or going to the paid consult and saying, sounds like what you need is this. And yes, I offer that if you want to. If you eventually only want to offer full service design or e-design, or virtual design, as I call it, now rather than e-design, which I think is a cheap like connotation of virtual design. You can do that if you want. Here's my message. You can build a business on anything you want, as long as you make it profitable and you're patient to build the pipeline, which does take time. But imagine if you had enough money and patience. That's what I thought of before when you were talking. Having enough money and being profitable and using the key to get that 40 to 60% profitability actually makes you go, okay, so I do want to redo my website. I don't feel so desperately, how am I going to redo my website because I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I can't hire. Suddenly you're looking in your bank account. You're like, I'm actually going to have enough money. Is that the project I want to spend the money on?
Yeah.
Imagine having choices. Do I want to hire a social media person? Do I want to hire a bookkeeper? Do I want to hire a web designer to redo my website? Do I want to be rebranded? Oh, and she disappeared. This happened last time and she's still there. And apparently she can hear me, but I can't see her. And it'll be a minute till she comes back on. This Be Live is being interesting lately. That's the system I use to broadcast. So, and here she comes back. It's That is so funny. They can't hear you yet, I think, until I bring you back up. Okay, there you are.
Sorry about
Oh
that.
my God.
What happened?
So funny how this is happening. Let me put your name back up on the thing. So anyway, I think we've covered basically all of the major topics when it comes to being profitable. You want to have the right ladder of services. I'm going to look at my list and make sure you're charging your worth for it. You want to have those ladder of services based on what you love to do, combined with what your ideal client actually needs, right? Pricing your services accurately is critical to running a good, profitable, high service business. Consider your expertise, your years of education, your years out in the field, combined with maybe you've worked with other people before in other similar fields. Don't discount that. That's qualifies as experience. Like if you worked in a showroom or something. Have you ever worked in a showroom?
I used to manage a trim and fabric showroom.
Okay. Okay. So I think a lot of designers start out that way. That
Yeah.
is experience, everybody. It doesn't mean, well, I've only been on my own. I hear this all the time. I've only been on my own for 2 years, but like they're 25 years in the industry.
Yeah. I was 10 years working for other designers, showrooms, drapery workrooms before I went on my own. And I still feel like I'm like new in business. I've had my own business for 8 years and I've been doing this for 18 years. I'm like, when do I feel like the expert? Does that ever happen?
Right. Well, this is why you don't want to like underestimate your expertise and your years of knowledge. It's huge. And obviously that I identified you as a coach and you were doing some coaching on your own because you're so knowledgeable and because you're always learning, right? So that's another thing. The extra money in your businesses, everybody, allows you to continue your education. I have heard how many people say, I really don't know kitchen and baths well enough, so I don't take them on. Or I really don't know window treatments well enough, so I don't take them on. And I'm like, you know what? Take it on and get the experience, but have the cushion where you can maybe hire someone as a mentor to help you through, right? Or ask us, how do I do a job that I've never done before with ease? There's plenty of tips on that we give our profit insiders all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So don't leave it to chance. Have a clear understanding of your profits and your ladder of services and your pricing. How can you do that? Go grab the key, the Designer's Ultimate Pricing Tool, which we've included the averages that we've seen over the last combined. I think we really are about 40 years of experience combined now. I think I've always said 30, but we're probably more like 40. Between all the designers I've worked with and all your experience and all the designers that you've worked with, we've put together this product that actually gives them, that holds their hand through their pricing, whether it's a new build, a renovation, a full service design, or designer on call. It's full service. Okay. And yes, Sarah Keeling is saying you can only really learn this business by doing. Exactly. Which is why it's really all an experiment. But I do know the key is working for everybody who's using it. Hands down, we have not gotten one complaint that it's too high or too low or too confusing. We actually haven't gotten any more of a complaint than I can't figure out how to get access to it. I did it once and I forgot how to do it again, right? Other than that, it's getting rave reviews. So if you're struggling with pricing, what should they do, Leslie?
They should go download the key and your job profitability analyzer.
Yes, which is free in my Business Building Boutique. So if you go to my website, nancyganselcrawford.com, top left will get you to the Business Building Boutique, which is all the free and paid content. But if you click the link we put in the comments below, you'll get right to the key, and it explains exactly what the key is. It's a 1 hour long training video that tells you a lot of tips on what we tell on how to price when you're inside our programs. Plus, they get the Good, Better, Best guide.
All the proposal templates in Canva to present the numbers that you have come up with in the key. Because the key is an internal document, to be clear. It is not meant to show clients. It is your back-end calculation for pricing.
Right. I like what you say. It's your pricing calculator.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that and you put it into the Canva templates that we've provided for you as your presentation to your client.
Yes.
And it gives you the confidence to present the right pricing and make the money you're worth and run a profitable business once and freaking for all.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So we will see you next Thursday for Thursday Thoughts. Please go click on the link. At least look at the key. If you are struggling with your pricing and it's taking you way too long and you're way too nervous and you never think you're right, download it because it's going to tell you exactly how you should be pricing your jobs. And it's going to be life-changing business.
Got it.
So, all right. See you next time.